Stream. Oh, and then share. Let's test sound here. Oh, and then share. All right, cool. We're good. All right. Obfuscators, roll out. Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining the stream, for those that are catching it live, and for those that will catch the playback. Appreciate you, really do, as always. Just want to just always put that out there, like, really do appreciate the people that do watch. I do see the numbers are steadily going up in terms of like more people watching. With that being said, you're watching, but I hope you're getting value out of it as well. Ask questions and share as well. That'd be great. Please, as always, try and like the stream before you get in, or as you come in. That'd be awesome. All right, so let's see here. I was thinking today we had a bit of a problem where we use a cloud service, and one of the bills wasn't paid. So, or a couple of the bills weren't paid, and we thought it was automatic, whatever. So, because of that, it's not like the company doesn't have the money or anything like that. But because of that, I was thinking maybe I should build like an app that starts to monitor or get information or kind of warn us in some way, shape, or form. Maybe there's like a billing API that I can access from Microsoft. So that's just something that I'm thinking about. Like, I wonder if there's a way that we can make sure that that doesn't happen again. Because that's one of the things about like when you're working in IT, it's like, okay, how can you have a problem? How can you solve it? AKA make sure it doesn't happen again in the same way, shape, form, or fashion. So that's one of those things where it's like, I was thinking about that. All right, screen 4. Let's go and share. Get some pretty cool stuff. I've been working on an Electron app for the job, and it's pretty cool. So I do want to show one of the cool bits of code that I'm working on. I can only show bits and not the whole thing. Maybe one day I will actually code an Electron app in front of you guys. I am using Visual Studio Code to actually do that. And that is, it takes some getting used to because it just has so much going on for it. Also, I've heard with Visual Studio Code, it'll slow down your computer if you have a underperforming system in any way, shape, or form. That's one of those things where I wish it could be better. Also, one of my coworkers who actually does watch the stream. Oh, hold on. Hopefully this will be better. All right, so one of my coworkers that does watch the stream, he was like, "Yo, your camera quality sucks. Looks like crap." And I'm like, "Shut up!" So, it looks like general. Huh? I guess I got it at 720, but let's see. Oh, okay. Guys, I'm gonna end the broadcast and then come right back in. Hopefully this will still be going on. It's like end broadcast. Can I do that? Oh man, I hope I don't screw this sucker up. Camera quality. Yeah. Oh, that's probably the highest I can go. Okay. All right, I won't do that. It's probably something I have to pay for. I probably will actually start paying for StreamYard. So far, it looks like a good service and it's been working, and I've quote unquote made some money on it. As always, thank you for those that have given me cash apps. I really do appreciate you all, especially with some of the interviews that I've done. I hope to get some other interviews on here pretty soon, or interviewees on here pretty soon. But we're kind of working on those things, and I'm just working on a couple other things as well. But let's look at my Cash App history here. In the last stream, Gabe A, he's a man in the manosphere that's always been around and always showing support. Um, what's it called? L Mayweather. I'll just leave it at that. I won't go too hard. I won't go too far. Richard Diction, that's an older Cash App. I appreciate that. and Aquateki, Char Willie, Mr. Heat. I do appreciate you all actually sending cash apps, and those weren't too recent or anything like that. Those were back on like the 13th. So I do appreciate you all sending in money for cash app, sending money to me via Cash App. That's really cool. All right. And Gabe, I'm not gonna lie, man. I kind of used that this week. What did I use that for? So last week I was in the headquarters office, and they have like a snack area. So what's it called? I definitely, you can put in money through Cash App. It's kind of like, I guess the honor system. So you can, you don't have to pay in a sense, but it's best that you do so they can replenish it. So I definitely partook in that because I'm just not around chips anymore like I used to be, which is a good thing. And I was able to maintain my weight, so that's good, and even get to a new low. So that was cool. What we have up here on the screen is a pretty cool picture. I like this one. I've actually downloaded it. So I do. This is on ArtStation. Enforcer 12 is the artist. Sunset is the piece of work that he has here. In fact, let's actually look at what some of the other stuff he has. That's a little Clint Eastwood or something. Arthur, okay, totally off. All right, some pretty. Oh, okay, Naruto fan art. That's really cool. All right, Perv Sensei. All right, it's like the Monkey King. Some pretty cool stuff from this guy. It's really good artwork. If this was on my other computer, I would definitely save it. This is some cool stuff. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Yeah, I remember this battle. Really cool. All right, so let's get into it. I do have a bit of code that I want to show you guys. Alrighty, so this is something cool that I've been working on at my day job. We're building out an Electron app. It's just one of the things that I'm trying to program or trying to code. And let's see if I can. All right, that's for the poor quality that I have. So building on an Electron app, essentially an Electron app is using Chrome's, I believe, V8 engine wrapped into a nice little exe install or an exe essentially. So essentially, it's the web app, but you rip out the middleman that is the browser, and you have full access to the system's input output devices, save features, and things like that. And you could write things to the actual system itself without having the restrictive browser in the way, if you will. And the browser does a lot to protect you, and does a lot to actually interpret a lot of those things. Also, under the hood is a Node.js app, or it is a Node.js app under the hood. And with that, you can start doing other things like running other processes. One of the things is you can install some Node.js packages, and with those Node.js packages, you can do things like pinging a system from that app itself. One of the things that I want to do eventually is setting up something where I can notify the user on the app itself if the internet is down or not. So that's just something that's kind of cool. And I've done things like that with Node.js in other ways. Let's close this out before, because yeah, I don't need to see, I don't need you guys to see that yet. It's just something else I'm working on. All right, cool. So first we have await response. I use something a really cool library called Sweet Alerts. I do love Sweet Alerts. It is pretty freaking awesome. Their package does quite a bit in terms of like prompting for passwords, just letting you know what's the status of something. But if you do sweetalert2.github.io, with this, you can just click on some of the examples that they have and use the code there. This is just a simple sweet alert. And then you can actually go a little bit deeper into it where you can actually choose the icon, such as an error icon. So you can get different icons like this. You can have different input types, so text, email, URL, password. I use the password one quite often. But if I go back to examples here and try it, this is an ad here, of course, but any fool can use a computer. So and then you can press OK. And then you can actually have, okay, so I use this when I'm doing order forms. So if you're doing an order or something like that, and you have to go through step 1, 2, 3, you can actually put in all of those steps. So here, save, don't save. Actually, this is the wrong thing. But it gives you different options here. So you can save, don't save, cancel. So if I saved. And then it goes on to the next step, letting you know, hey, listen, that you've saved. And you can actually have have these things happen in steps, and it'll be a little bit more in a sense interactive with the user. Maybe like you have like you have an order and it says, okay, do you want this, you want this to go here, you want all of this to go here, like maybe a manifest of items that you ordered, and then this is the address you want it to go to, things like that. And then you can even have like other steps such as, do you want to put in a password? Are there any last bit of instructions that you want to put in there? Things like that. So I could choose okay. And then let's see, passing. Yes, deleted. No, canceled. Canceled. Yes, deleted. Deleted. So you can see how like you can go in different steps here, and it is thenable. So you can actually have a then and just do something else and chain another sweet alert to it if you wanted to, and then you can actually pass information from each sweet alert um, uh, fire. One I do like is I did want to show you the different steps. This is cool because you can see where it's a countdown for loading. This uses the, I believe, the fetch API. So you can put in your GitHub name. So treestarsystems. This is one that I liked kind of the most when I first saw it, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. So look up, and then it actually gets my avatar. So you can do that with anybody, right? It's really cool. Because it's just using the GitHub API, and this uses the built-in fetch API in most browsers. I use Axios or XHR. I'm starting to move more to Axios just to kind of like get a standard, if you will. So I'll be using mostly Axios for most of my stuff as a way of talking with REST APIs. You can use fetch, XHR for vanilla JavaScript, and then you can also use things like Axios, which is a third-party library. So I like using that. Chaining modals. This one's cool. So this is one I was talking about where you do an order. You can have multiple questions. You can have anything you want and choose next, next. And then you can change the color of these buttons as well, and next. And then boom, you didn't put anything in there. So what's nice is you can also do try it in CodePen, and it'll spin up a CodePen for you, so you can have all that available. So I can do things like, I think it's like button color. Button color, confirm button color, and then default color is like a blue. So I can do question 1 text. This is a JSON object, so I can put that in there, and then put green. Oh, green. So that's not gonna run. All right, cool. Hopefully that'll work. Great. So now I've changed that confirm button color from blue to green. So that's a really cool thing about using online coding systems like JS Fiddle, which I like, and then also CodePen. You'll see this quite a bit in terms of uh, Stack Overflow or anything like that. And with Stack Overflow, they'll allow you to link things like JS Fiddle if you can't do it within the browser itself or within the platform itself, which they do allow you to put in code samples and things like that. They just don't execute sometimes as robustly as something like JS Fiddle. I like JS Fiddle and also CodePen because with them I can go to my settings, and then I can even change the type of JavaScript preprocessor here. So Babel or Babel, TypeScript, CoffeeScript, LiveScript, and then also you can add your own little custom JavaScript libraries. Maybe a JavaScript library such as maybe a fade JavaScript, your own personal JavaScript, Axios, the Axios library as well. So like all these things can be added, which is really nice. And then you can actually, they have some that are already like pre-programmed. Like you can even put in things like what's another one? jQuery, which is very popular. Used to use jQuery back in the day along with PHP. But yeah, you can add different resources here, and it'll actually load that for you into your CodePen. And then if you log in or sign up and log in, then you can actually save these different CodePens and then distribute it to other people, which is nice. Then other people can look at it and make their own changes and things like that. So it's a nice service to use. JS Fiddle has the same option as well, and JS Fiddle's doing some other stuff too. That's pretty cool. So actually, let's Fiddle. Oh, look at this. That's cool. Oh. All right. Okay, so this is a fiddle that I was looking at earlier. Oh, so this was a cool fiddle too, and this helped out quite a bit understanding downsampling or downsizing of images. So, for instance, if you have an image, we have a tool that I built for the company, which is a signature generator, and then with that signature generator, what you would do is, or in that signature generator, you would go in there and generate an actual signature for you as a user. And then one of the problems I was having was the images when they were down or when they were compressed or changed from a larger resolution to a smaller resolution and cropped in some cases. I am using something called Croppy, but with Croppy, I didn't understand how the settings are working, and I was kind of forced to fix it finally, and it bore fruit. So I understood that with it, I have to crop it down to a smaller image, but the image that you put here, for instance, one problem I was having is, say for instance, I was cropping it down from its original resolution to 150 by 150 or something like that. The best way to get the best quality out of an image is double the size that it has to be cropped to. So for instance, if I have to crop it to 150 by 150 pixels, the best thing to do is crop it to 300 and then in the CSS, compress it from 300 to 3 by 300 and then compress it down to, or then restrain its width and its height, or with its width at least, by 150 by 150. So it would look a little bit blurry, but it wouldn't look pixelated. So that was one of the bigger issues that I was having. And I used a little bit of this code here, but I don't think I used, yeah, I didn't use, no, I was using this, but I was trying to use this, but it didn't work out. And I was able to find it in, I was trying to do a pre-processing function, but I was able to find out how to use it in Croppy properly. Croppy.js is a really cool library as well. And I use that. Um, and then I have an issue where this data URL here. So essentially, this is that image at the bottom. This whole long string here is, and it goes on for a while. It's a pretty big image. That is the entire image, and you can do what they call a data URL. So it'll be like data colon, and then what type of data type it is. If it's like an image slash JPEG slash PNG, base 64 encoding, and then comma, and then like the actual data for the actual image itself. So that's just something I was learning. I was like really, really going through it, trying to figure all this crap out. What else is there? But yeah, Sweet Alert's really cool. And with Sweet Alert, with Electron and Sweet Alert and all those things together in the Electron app, essentially it's just like when you're in the app, it's like just programming a website. And if you're doing anything with Node.js, it's just like programming. It's JavaScript all the way through. So you're doing everything in Node.js or what have you, and it's all in this Electron app, which is really cool. So you could put other code in there as well. Maybe if you have Python or something like that, and you want to run some Python code and then have your own little exe, you can do, Python with Node.js and all together and stuff like that. I personally like just doing JavaScript from front to back. All right, so if I do Control F and I do search for toast messages, that was loud. So toast message are those little messages that you see at the top here or at the bottom of your screen. It's just a nice pop up, if you will, and you can make that look a certain way. So here, with this one. So there's usually a swal fire, so SWAL, sweet alert, fire, and then you're just firing off something. You can do a toast. So you can do like swal mixin. This is actually all the configuration that you have to do for that toast message. You can even stop it on mouse over, and you can stop timer, resume timer on mouse leave, and then you can fire that message off along with information such as like the icon title and things like that. So I can do try me, and then you'll see here signed successfully. And then you can see that as I hover over it, the timer stops. This is set at 3,000 3,000 milliseconds. So that equates to about, or that equals, I think 2 seconds or something like that, because 60 is 1 second. No, 60 is 10 seconds or 5 seconds. No, this is 5 seconds. 60 is 10 seconds. So Yeah, so this right here turns this goes off after that period of time. So if I click on there, can mouse over it, keeps on going, mouse over it, leave, keeps on going, goes away. So this is really cool. Anyways, with that being said, this code here uses the Sweet Alerts library, and I love it, and it does great things. What I usually do is I have like a function called await response, where I'm just awaiting the response, and it just keeps on loading and it doesn't allow outside clicks. So, for instance, if somebody tries to click outside of the little like the light box that shows up, light box is usually an HTML element that says the box itself in the foreground, or the box itself is lighter and then the background is dimmed. So they call that, I believe, a light box. But that modal that pops up, you can actually set it to where nothing else you can click on anything. Also, the box that pops up with Sweet Alert, I can make the background transparent. So literally, it just shows words floating. I usually like to do HTML, and with my HTML, the text that I put in here, and I can do a string, a template literal here to replace some of this information. I could pass in a message into this function. Is something I've been thinking about. So I might do something like this, right? Message, and then turn this into a template literal. Right now it is, those are single quotes. And then I can have it pass, I can even have it pass like that message. This is HTML for a hourglass. So this is an HTML emoji. So search up HTML emoji. Actually, let us search up HTML emoji together. HTML emoji. Oh, that's a pretty cool, sick picture. It's not bad. Kind of weird, but yeah. And W3 Schools has all the a list of HTML emojis. And you can see I use this one here. Actually, let's take that one out. Get rid of this one here. Leave. Okay, where are we? Code. So I use 9203. And you could search it up by the code. I wish they had the names and descriptions, but that might be hard for some of these because you'd have to be a little bit more descriptive. So it's just you have to scroll down, find the one you want. So if I do Control F here, yeah. So I use the hourglass here, and this just shows that, hey, listen, it's loading. But I can pass that. That's where I need to be. All right, so I can actually just go ahead and pass that here. And then pass message. So that way I can actually always pass that type of information. And I could probably even do something where like it defaults to something, so you can do that if there's like if no message, or like actually let's code that live. So if message, and then you can do, ooh, if message. I don't know if this would be totally correct because I know you can do things like guarding. So this is something really cool. So you can like do like if message, and then you don't have to do all the curly braces. This is a shorthand way of actually writing an if statement. But I can do if and then return variable, right? Like I can return a variable and that's it, and that'll be the whole line. So I don't have to write out everything. So I can do let message equal stuff. So if there's no message, let message equal stuff, and then I can, oh, actually, I could do it like this. Great, yeah. The only reason I'm unsure is like that let statement. I don't know if I can do that, but if you wanted to do like multiple lines in that if statement, you have to encase it in the curly braces. But I can do message equal stuff. So yeah, that'd be cool, and that'll be a way I can actually default it. So if there's anything, I always add the semicolon at the end. I'm just that type of person. But if there's nothing, I can put like stuff and then it'll go there. So that's one thing I wanted to do. So what I have here is we're using like Azure Blob storage, and we want to use it a little bit more and leverage that as a sort of CDN. But it's like, okay, we get two. What's cool about Azure Blob storage is that I can actually host static web content, but I would get two different, hold on here. I would get two different, sorry. I would get two different endpoints, which is really nice. So like company cloud and then company dash secondary, or company cloud dash secondary. But the thing is, if I want to find out, um, which, like, what if one of these is down? If I hard code it, then now I got to go to the app, the Electron app, and then hard code and change it from there. Well, I want to actually have redundancy in here. So I put it in an array, and then I have to actually go through it. This took a while to figure out, and this is part of the reason why I was not streaming last week, because I was trying to figure this crap out here. And Gabe, hey man, thank you so much for showing up, brother. I really do appreciate you. I did read out like, hey, listen, you sent me a Cash App last week, and I do appreciate that. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for being here, brother. So we're talking about Electron apps, and we're talking about redundancy in Electron app. I want to build an evergreen Electron app, meaning that I send out the original exe, and then that original exe, there's everything in it like that I need, and it's really cut down. Like it only just like the information to build the window and how to load the next bit of content. So what I did is, or what one of the first things I wanted to do is to make sure that there's redundancy in that. So even with this Azure blob entry, or Azure blob endpoint array, I can possibly add things to this array because all this stuff in Electron is JavaScript based, and I can go ahead and actually read that on the next bit of JavaScript and reference it because it was loaded beforehand. So now that I have this array, I can add other things to it if we have other entries or anything else like that. If we have to totally change it, then we would probably send out an update to everybody so that it can actually be fully updated, and then we can have all the new endpoints in there. Maybe if we use like AWS or something like that, or some other type of, or AWS S3 or some other type of cloud storage. But with Azure Blob, it allows you to host web and static content. Now with that web and static content, what I want to do is see if it is even available. One way you do that is you do a GET request. So I use Axios, which is my library of choice when it comes to fetching information from from REST APIs. So I'll do await Axios because this is an async function, and I can do awaits within that function so that I can actually wait for this to resolve, or this promise to resolve, and then get the result of that. Now with that, I can return get result. That get result actually, get request result. Oh, that doesn't, oof, return. Wow, how did I do that? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I can't even read my own code. I'm like, how did I return get result within it? I didn't. I returned response. So I return response. That gets assigned to get request result. Because it's awaited, this return will not run until this is actually resolved, and then this value here gets returned. Now that means I can actually take this function and its output, which I'll output, its input is a URL, which is going to be one of these URLs here. I'm going to use a for loop to iterate through that. And the reason why we're using a for loop, I'll explain in a little bit here. But with this asynchronous function, now I can actually output that information and output the result of that that whole payload, if you will, which is like any status header, status codes, um, the actual data that comes with that. Maybe it's like a HTML website or something like that, or maybe it's a JSON object. All of that goes to get result, get request result, right? So now I go to this function, function that contains a loop which exits on the first URL to return status of 200. Again, we're going back to, this goes back to what I've said in previous videos. Describe your function, describe what it's supposed to do and what it should always be, and maybe even add some tests. I will say that my documentation will not pass the snuff of some of the requirements of some larger companies, but it is a decent start at least, so you can at least see, hey, what it is, because a part of that is, even though it's self-explanatory, it takes URL. Well, URL could be an array of URLs. It could be a URL with without a destination. It could be a non-HTTP URL. You know, like it could be anything in terms of its variable, or it could not be URL because I forgot to rename it to something else that's more descriptive of what it actually is. So be a little bit more descriptive of that as best as possible, and we'll grow together on that. So in terms of this function that takes this information, it says array of URLs, right? So I'm taking this array of URLs here. Then, and each one of those URLs, or in each portion, each one of those URLs within the array, I'm running it through a for loop. Now, why not use a higher order function such as a for each? You know, like with for each, I can actually do something and iterate through all of those. The problem with for each is it won't let you stop. It'll keep on going. I want this thing to stop as soon as I get a status code 200 from the Axios response. And with that status code of 200, that's telling me that, hey, this URL or this endpoint, this API endpoint, this web endpoint, this file on this web endpoint actually exists. I don't need to process anything else. I don't need to waste any more time going to the next one because I'm not going to use the next one. I want the first one to give me a status code of 200 to work, to actually be used. Now, that means is if the first one does not return that, then it goes to the second one. So the for loop allows you to do that. I can't do a break or a continue or anything else like that unless I use like a for loop, and I can't have it like nested or anything like that. Like there's a problem with like, for instance, if I have a for loop and then like a for, no, I can't do a break in a for each, plain and simple. So right here, we do a try catch block. This catches any errors that we might have, especially if it's a 404, 504, or something like that, or 502 bad gateway, or 404 file not found, or any other type of status code. I want a status code of 200. That is the per the HTML standard. So if a website is loaded, I want to get, I was looking at stocks earlier, so let's see here. Here we go. HTML status codes. Almost done with this, and then we'll move to some of the code integration or the command line integration. So here we have our different status codes. So you have your informational responses, successful responses, redirects, client errors, server errors. I only care about 200s. This request has succeeded. The meaning of this success depends on the HTTP method. Get, and then you can do 201 created, accepted, non-authoritative information. Like I don't need all of these. I need that it's okay. Then along with that, it has a text status code. So the numerical status code is 200. The text status code is okay. All right, let's minimize that. We don't need it. So, all right, so that's all I need. So I'll do a try catch block. This catches any errors, and then if there's a catch, like for instance, there's some type of error that comes up, I want you to continue in the array. So I don't want it to cause it to have an issue. I would be able to use something like a break statement, but in this case, a return will cause a break in the for loop itself. So I can continue on, or I can not continue on. I can stop the execution of this for loop by just doing a return statement. I had to look that up because if I wanted to do like a return this and then break, like it won't allow it because you'll never get to the break because the return will kick you out of the loop. Wow, okay. Is there an expect in JavaScript like in Python? I have no freaking clue. Let us discover this together because that's all right, cool. Expect in JS. Uh, expect JS. It doesn't look like that's something that is in. No. So if I usually like to use MDN, the Mozilla Foundation's documentation on JavaScript. Mozilla is the organization that commissioned the creation of JavaScript itself. And it was only, I don't think it has much to do with quote unquote Java. It's just a buzzword, so they kept it. Except, expect. Oh, accept. Uh, oh, let's see. Expect. Okay, accept. Hey man, we all make expect JavaScript errors. Huh, okay. JavaScript errors and exceptions handling. Okay. There are 3 types of errors in programming: syntax errors, runtime errors, and logical errors. Those errors exist in human beings too. Syntax errors, also called parsing errors, occur at compile time in traditional programming languages and at the interpret time in JavaScript. For example, the following line causes a syntax error because it is missing a closing parentheses. Okay, so a syntax, runtime, so logical. So, oh, okay, so we have logical errors. I'm just going to scroll down to this. Now you're good, Gabe. Don't worry about it, bro. We're going to be learning here. Actually, let me remove your comment so you guys can see the full screen here. Logical errors. Logic errors can be the most difficult type of errors to track down. These errors are not the result of a syntax or runtime error. Instead, they occur when you make a mistake in the logic that drives your script and you do not get the result you expected. Yeah, that happens a lot. You cannot catch these errors because it depends on your business requirements, what type of logic you want to put in your program. All right, try, catch, finally statement. I don't use the finally in JavaScript a lot. I just use try and catch. Finally would be almost like a case statement or a switch statement where you have like a default or something like that. Oh, okay, that's really cool. So it actually describes it here. Finally, code that is always executed regardless of an exception occurring. But let's read this. Try catch finally statement. The latest version of JavaScript added the exception handling capabilities. So Gabe, yes, they're in there. JavaScript implements the try catch finally construct as well as the throw operator to handle exceptions. I have seen the throw operator used in some examples. If anything, what I use is like an if statement and then you throw ERR. So you like if parentheses or open parentheses ERR close parentheses and then throw ERR colon, and that's a shorthanded way of writing, hey, listen, if there's an error or something like that, throw the error. And I'm not sure of the significance because I guess you could return error or something like that, but I don't know if it continues or not. So that's just something I can look up later. All right, try catch finally construct as well as the throw operator to handle exceptions. You can catch programmer generated and runtime exceptions, but you cannot catch JavaScript syntax errors. Here is the try catch finally block syntax. Okay. All right. Here's it. Okay. I already read through this a little bit. All right. The try block, examples, output. I will go ahead. You guys can read this further. This is tutorialspoint.com/JavaScript/JavaScript _error_handling.htm. I'll try and put those in the notes here. In fact, let me put that actual article in the description, so that'll be actually pretty good reading for you guys. So Gabe says, it came to mind when you were talking about picking up on errors as you iterated through with your for loop. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, I don't want those errors, so that's why I have the try catch, and I don't care about those errors with the way I wrote it because those errors don't mean anything, and I'll always get an error, especially if it's a 404. But I don't want it to stop. So with a for loop and in JavaScript, you have to make sure that you have a try catch in there, and then it continues. Yeah, but that'd be good reading right there. But guys, check that out. Thank you, Gabe, for putting that in there. I'm not going to go through that right now because it's like I don't want to just read it aimlessly because I don't know what the hell I'm reading yet, and I want to read it first and then pick out the good parts of it. So, but that's definitely a good good piece of information or a good thing to actually really look at. And then it's good to, like, again, being open source and talking about these things because now we're discovering other things from different other areas. Another thing that's supposed to be coming out or has probably already come out is not ternary operators, but damn it, it's like there's like a video that I had watched about Gray Warwick. That's a crazy freaking picture. I want to download that. So there's something with I forgot JS. I'll look it up. New JS features. There we go. I think this is ES 2020. There is big int. Okay, dynamic import, nullish coalescing. All right. Don't remember what it is, but I know how to read that word there. Optional chaining. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. Here we go. Optional chaining. This is really great because and sorry for this big zap there, but this is really great. And I'll put this link in the chat right now. Also, I'll put this in the post video notes here. All right. But optional chaining is really cool because optional chaining syntax allows you to access deeply nested object properties without worrying if the property exists or not. If it exists, great. If not, undefined will be returned. This not only works on object properties, but also on function calls and arrays. Super convenient. Here's an example. So for instance, you have a nested, you have a JavaScript property, and it's nested within not JavaScript process, a JSON property or key, and you want to get the value of a subkey or something like that. My dog. Hey, that is my brother from another mother. Jermaine, hey man, appreciate you. I appreciate you showing up, man. Thank you, bro. When I talk about business partners, when I talk about people that are close to me, when I talk about people that have been, if not day one like your family, but day two, this is the guy right here, man. This is a guy that's always been around, man, and I appreciate him so much. Hey, Jermaine, can you can you put in your in the chat there a link to your? Let me just do. I'm gonna just add you. Yeah, I'm gonna add you. So I'm gonna add you as a moderator. So, Jermaine, go ahead and put a link into one of your streams. Jermaine is a DJ and he does really good work on DJing and everything like that. That is his pastime. Like coding is my pastime and doing that. He does stream online. He does stream some of his practice sessions and things like that. So whatever social you want to put out there, Jermaine, please go ahead and do that, man. But that is my brother from another mother, man, and hopefully I can actually get his brother on here talking about his business. He's a brother that's Jackie, and his brother's name is Jackie, and Jackie is he actually does granite countertops, and he's having a hard time finding workers, which is somewhat of a conundrum, and he's paying pretty well. So I do want to get him on the stream and probably in one of my interview streams. But yeah, Jermaine, yeah, so twitch.tv/jboss305. Yeah, so definitely, guys, please go and follow him. He doesn't stream often. He needs to do it regularly. He needs to be put on a schedule like I'm doing for myself. But definitely go and follow him and listen to some of his stuff. He has really good work. But yeah, let's get back to it, man. Hey, Jermaine, thank you so much, man, for everything that you've done for me in life. So anyways, optional training. One thing that's nice about optional chaining is that you don't have to write an if statement for a JSON property. Like if this exists, then go down the chain. This makes a lot more sense in terms of if I'm writing. Let's do a little bit. Let's actually do some live coding, huh? Right. So optional chaining. So before this, you would have to do if. Oh, and then if. So you'd have to nest your if statements, and then if you can see how this frickin' sucks. So you have your JSON object, and that equals JSON object. Hey man, thank you, boss. I really appreciate you as always, man. So you have your JSON object, and that has key one, key one, and that has another JSON object within it. And then you have key two, and that has another JSON object within it. Like, you can see how this is just freaking stupid. But this is what you have to deal with in some cases. And then you do like key 3, and I think I wrote this right, and then value. So if if key 1, then if key 2, or sorry, no, key 1 dot key 2, so you have to write it, and then key 1 dot key 2 dot key 3 dot, yeah, key 3. All right, so now you're getting the value of each one of those keys, right? And then you can say console.log. And that's how you would actually get the value of key 3. Like, what the, and actually I wrote that wrong. Oh my God, I wrote that wrong. Guys, forgive me. Right. And that's how you would write that. Now with optional chaining, what you would do is if, and we get this last part, if, and then let's see how we write it. All right, so optional. So we'll do the question mark before the dot. All right, so do. Hey, and I do want to recognize Grinch. We smoking on Chauvin tonight. That's pretty freaking funny. Oh man, is my computer? Uh-oh, my video's looking like crap. Let me shut down a couple of things here. Shut down a couple windows. Looks like my camera failed, guys. That's fine. You guys don't need to see my face for stuff. We'll take this off, and I'll keep my screen up. All right, cool. So, yeah, it looks like we're having technical difficulties. It looks like my camera died. Ooh. But we smoking on Chauvin. We'll see if that actually sets a shout out to Grinch God. Definitely go follow his channel. Definitely colorful commentary, but it's based in facts and his own personal experiences, in terms of, like, the stuff that he's done in the army and things like that. But definitely follow Grinch or Grinch God. Search him here up on YouTube, man. But a very educated brother. He's written books, or written a book that I know of. I don't know if he's done anything else, but his commentary about how dudes are just sticking their dick in a blender, in a sense, it's entertaining, but then it's really sobering as well. Definitely a brother that's actually added quite a bit to the space and actually helped to progress the conversation. So thank you for showing up, Grinch. I really appreciate you, brother. But with optional chaining, you'll have JSON object, and then it's like, okay, if key 1 exists, do that. If key 2 exists, do that. And then you get the value of key 3, and then you can just do a shorthanded if statement here. And then, actually, no, like this. And then, then you can go ahead and print the value. Otherwise, it's just going to console log undefined, right? Like, if those exist, then it'll console log undefined. Or no, sorry, if it exists, then it'll console log that bit of code there. But you can see how it's shortened up and simplified it, and also made it a little bit more scalable in terms of writing out the code, because what you would have to do is possibly a for loop to actually get JavaScript, to actually get JavaScript key values that are probably even deeper or deeply nested. So that's definitely something that, definitely helps. All right, so that is one cool thing about learning about new things, like Gabe. That's the tangent that we went off on. So, anyways, back to this. This is adding redundancy in the Electron app that I'm trying to build for my day job here. And one thing that's cool about this is you're doing an asynchronous function, so it's going to wait until some of these things resolve, such as getting, getting the information out of this function here. So we'll do an await on that. Right. What that'll do is resolve the promise that is required from this actual function, and you'll do this for each and every item within the array up until as long as it does, if it returns an error. Or you'll do it up until the point where it finds a good one and then it exits out the array. So we'll do let connectivity status response equal await, and then our function that tests for if the file exists or not. Then we'll do let connectivity status code equal the output of that function test file exists. If that code equals 200, so we're doing a comparison operator here. If connectivity status code equals we're going to assign connectivity status response dot status, assign that to connectivity status code. I got to slow down sometimes, guys, so I apologize. So if connectivity status code equals 200, so the value of this value, or the value of status in the response, if it equals 200, that means okay. Return array of URLs, and then I, which is the point of, or which tracks the point of the actual uh, I guess you would say the point where we are within the array. So if we're in position 0, 1, or what have you, then it just returns that. And then I can assign that to an actual variable, or not a variable. Yeah, I can assign that to an actual variable name. So then if it does that, then it'll just return it and breaks out of the for loop, doesn't run anymore, because we don't want to run it again. And then after that, we can do catch. If it has a problem, then it continues if there is an actual issue. So like, for instance, if it gets 404 or something like that, returns an error, which is why I have it in a try catch block. If it returns an error or anything other than 200, then it will do a continue and then run to the next item within that array. All that, so I can do await response, right? That just gives us our nice little, loading screen, if you will. And then I can do let URL, so I'm defining a variable, and I'm assigning await file exists check, and then this is the array of URLs that I'm passing in here, which is this up here. So company cloud, and then all the the information, and then the actual file that I'm trying to see if it exists. You can also just do this for the URL itself and see if it answers or not. But it's the same difference if I just give it a full URL. This right here, this is the actual downloader primer. So I can always load new code into that primer JavaScript file, and in that JavaScript primer file, once I load that information through there, then I don't have to do anything else. Then I can just update that, and I don't have to do a refresh every time I want to make a change to code or anything like that. So that's kind of like a way of approaching Evergreen. All right, so then let script. This is where I just start injecting stuff into the DOM itself, into the JavaScript document object, or I think, yeah, in the DOM. I won't try and define that because I don't remember what it is. So then let script equal whatever document that creates script. So I'm just actually creating an element called script, and then that script will be the URL of that file. So that'll be this URL here. This is what it'll actually resolve to. So essentially this URL here, if it's the first one or the second one. And then I'll append that to the actual document itself, and then it'll load that code. The thing is, it's and the way this function is written, this is an anonymous function, and then I follow it up by parentheses, so it'll always run this. So it's always I keep this at the bottom, and this is literally all that I have in the Electron app. There's not much else that I have in terms of logic or anything like that in the Electron app itself. And this is all that I have So what it does, actually, let's make sure since I don't have the camera on. Hold on. Yeah, we're good. So all it does in that the core of the Electron app is just this information here. So have a little loading screen, define an array of URLs. This could be a couple URLs for your CDN. You can have different um, JavaScript files or something like that, or different URLs. So maybe I have Azure, maybe I have AWS, and I can have that whole list of endpoints. And then with that list of endpoints, I can iterate through those. I can have two different things or two different storage accounts or anything like that. So I can have even more redundancy. I can have cloud and service redundancy as well. And then I can always make sure that my app is going to run one way or another. This was a really cool exercise. Again, this is why I did not stream last week, Thursday, because I was trying to figure this out and like it bore fruit. Like this like little small snippet of code here, these 57 lines here, like it's sick. This is like freaking amazing right here to me because it shows that I don't have to have DNS redundancy right now. I can program that if I needed to, but I can do redundancy within the code itself and be logical with it as well. All right, cool. Where do I have my zoom? Doesn't tell me where I'm zoomed. All right, that's fine. All right, so yeah, optional chaining. So I want to make sure that I have this article for you guys. All right, cool. So I'll take that out. So you guys see the example or saw the example of optional chaining. We got this article, that article, HTML status code responses. I am gonna go ahead and put that in there for you guys as well in terms of reading. Oh, also the emoji stuff. And sweet alerts. And let's get to coding here. So I spent a whole hour talking, as usual. These streams are actually supposed to be an hour, guys. I just talk so damn much. It takes even more time. But I do appreciate you all listening. I really do mean that. All right, cool. So let's bring this over here. So last week, we'll run this for a little bit. I should have I restarted this computer a couple times. So, all right, cool. So CD opt, right, boilerplate. And where we left off is we were integrating the GH command or the GitHub CLI command into this. So let's see what we have and where we stopped at. So we do prompts. I think it's above this. Yeah, it should be above this. Good. Oh, goodness. No, don't tell me. I would be mortified if that's the case. Generate README. Whoa, I think I didn't save it, guys. Oh my god. Ah! I don't think I saved it. Fudge. 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 Did I not save this thing? It's like I have to watch the previous video just to figure out what the hell I was writing. All right. All right, let me get my bearings here, guys. Do prompts. Yeah, I did not save that sucker. Give me a sec. I think I have it, though. Maybe what I have to do, no, just checking the actual GitHub. 12 days ago, FUQDN regex. Bruh, I didn't save it. I didn't save and I didn't. Did I not upload? Wow. So I totally screwed up and I didn't save it nor put it on GitHub. So I have to do it all over again. Static files. Yeah, and I don't even have a temporary file in here either. Oof. Yeah. Sorry for being brainless on that, guys. What can we do? That's the thing about like coding. If you don't save stuff, don't have backups. It's the thing about computers, period. So screwed the pooch on that one, guys. So I'll just have to see where I left off here. I wonder if I should have installed it on this VM. Wait. Give me a sec. I might not have done it on this VM at all. Hmm. There we go. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, I was using a different VM. All right, so what we will do though is we will commit this to the repo. To the repo it shall go. Thank God. We did a lot of work last time. All right, so what we'll do is git add git. I always do a git add and then period. That means add any and everything that is new or add anything in the base directory. And I always do it from the actual base directory, so it's recursive. And then git commit, and then -a, I believe that's for all, and then -m for message, and then the message would be like obfuscate 020 21, and I can actually put slashes in there because it's a comment. It doesn't have anything that's going to be interpreted. Commit. All right, so it shows 1 file change, 34 insertions, 5 deletions. So I'll do git push and I do treestarsystems, and then I have to find my password. Hopefully I won't like copy and paste it like I did the last time and have to change it all over again. Hold on, let me find my password. Oof, it's an ugly picture. It's scary for a second. It's like, oh my God, I have to redo all that stuff. Didn't even remember all the stuff that I did, but that's why it's good to, I guess, that we're doing this on stream. All right, cool. All right, great. And then one thing we can do, since this is not updated on the local VM that I have, I can get out of here, and then I can do Git Pull, and that should sync my changes. So it'll go out to the repository if I need any authentication or anything like that, and cannot resolve this name. I have no idea why not. Why can't you? Let me see. I don't think I have this repository as private. It shouldn't be. No PowerPoint. Cannot resolve host GitHub. Oh, I've been having internet problems. Git pull. Okay. So I had internet problems and I had to restart the computer a couple times. But yeah, and hopefully that's fixed there. So yeah, okay, this is the only version. All right, cool. So now we're just doing this on the VM or the local VM. And this is the do git. So where we want to go with this is enter a valid name, incorrect service available. All right, cool. So this is where you have to, you put in where you have to create an auth token. All right, and then function, so do git. So if I run this, private.sh, all right, please enter your GitHub auth token. And with that, okay, so one thing I want to do with this, boom, let's start with that. So with, let's start with a cool picture too. This is, I remember this game, I forgot, or it's like Ink something. It's like on Nintendo. Splatoon. There you go. Splatoon 2. All right, cool. So let's do, what command are we using to actually take in? I think it's read line. Yeah, we're gonna use read. So read command for passwords. So as you can see here, that is in plain text. It's obvious. It is not, it's not protected in any way, shape, or form. So I want it to not be shown here, but we do want to prove that it actually does happen. So read then fee, and then so this is the if statement. So we'll do echo, and then we do auth token. So this is how we call a variable in we define a variable this way without anything, and then we call that variable like this in bash scripting. All right, so in this case, boom. All right, gh command not found. All right, that's fine. We do have to, oh, all right, let's do our steps here. So we have to add the system dependencies to this system as well. So we can just copy and paste all this stuff here. And then run an update. And then once that's done, we can do the gh command at install gh. Locate package gh. Oh, did I have a problem? I didn't notice it. Update. Oh, I thought I ran the update. Okay. Apt update. Okay. No, did not add it. Oh, okay. Maybe we didn't add the repository either. Apt add repository, but get installed. Huh. Oh, okay. So this is because I have a cut down version of the server. So we just have to install that command. Oh, so what that means is, if that's the case, we have to add that to our script. And even if it exists, then it should just skip over it and not error out for us. So we will do apt install software properties common. All right, so apt, and we'll do this here. Sudo apt install properties common. I usually don't like doing stuff like this where you have to just do it twice, but that's fine. So I'll do an apt update beforehand, and then I'll do another one after the fact, just to be doubly sure that I'm getting all the proper updates for this. With it being a new system, I shouldn't have too much of a problem with that, I believe. Actually, we'll take it out. You know, like I don't like doing that twice. That's a preference. It may not be the best thing, but I will say that I do not like doing that. All right, cool. So now with that being done, apt install software properties common, that should help with that dependency or get that in place for us. We'll also make sure we do the -y, because this is all scripted and we don't want to actually do anything. We want to actually run this script unattended as best as possible, except for the prompts that we have to fill in ourselves. Excuse me, but things like system dependencies and stuff like that, we just want to make sure it just goes through. Oh, that's also another thing that I noticed. It looks like app key dev. I actually had to put that in there. Yeah. I'm gonna look this up because I don't think it I believe, and let's just go up in our, let's go up, let's scroll back here and see if we had to do anything to accept it. Uh, yeah, I think we just imported it and didn't have to do anything. So that means there's nothing like a -y that we have to add for the app key add or ADV command. All right, cool. So we don't have to do anything for that. And guys, when you're writing these scripts, this is like the tedious part. I know we've been working on this for weeks and things like that. It's like, oh wow, doing new projects, so on and so forth. At least that's the way I think sometimes. I don't know if you guys think that, but well, the reason why you have to do things like this is because you have to go through it. And usually something like this will be written in like maybe a couple days, do a little bit of testing, maybe a day, depending on what you're doing. But I'm trying to do everything coded within the confine or with during the stream itself. So that's why we're still on this and working with it, but we're just doing it little bit by little bit by little bit, and we're just chipping away at it. I do want to move on to like the end of this where we just actually code the Node.js app, but one thing at a time. And I hope it helps you guys too. All right. So we'll go ahead and save that bit of code there or that change. And we went ahead and installed properties, and then we'll do, all right, so we'll add repository. So now it added the repository for us. And then once we do the add repository, now we should be doing an apt update, which it looks like it already kind of did for us. So we may not have to run this, but I like running this anyway. This is the only time I like to run in this once, and then I can do the upgrade, and then I can go ahead and do this down here. So now I can do apt install gh, or I can do up, and install gh. So if I press the up arrow, then I can go back in my command history. Same thing in PowerShell as well. All right, cool. So GH is on this computer now. Great. So now the whole purpose of what I want to do that for is Linux read command example. So we went to this, I think, a couple weeks ago. Hopefully this is the same article. Screw that. Let's do this because this is not the same article. We're going to do Shift Q, and then we're going to do man read. So we're going to look at the manual pages. Read from file descriptor. Okay, so in this case, we should be reading from standard input. Errors, note, return, description, read from a file descriptor. Return value. Man, read dash help. Okay, an array E, use read line to obtain the line. Okay, text, nchars prompt. Do not allow backslashes. Okay, we want to do that. Do not allow backslashes to escape any characters. Timeout. So this is good for if you want to kind of sanitize what you're actually putting in there. And text. Array, continue until the character use read line. So I'm just skimming through this, and I want to see if there's anything that should block out. Trying new line before, so prompt. Attempting to read. Okay, we do have this here as well. Text ER echo input coming from terminal. Timeout you read from. I think there's like another one where it doesn't show. Hold on. There we go. So there's the -s. Do not echo input comment. There we go. That's it. All right. So I was looking for a keyword, but it's this right here. And I'm just looking at this article that I have here. And there's another article that we used last time, but we're going to use the secret or silent option. Let me get this, and I'll put this in the show notes here. All right, cool. All right. So with that, so we're going to do a -s. All right, so we're going to have our stuff back here and do Git. Okay. So our read, our read line here, 1045. Here, there we go. So -e, -p, and then I'm just going to do -s. All right, cool. So what this does is I should not see any input, but I will be doing a echo. I wanted to say console log, but I will be doing an echo so we can see our input. So here, cool. So you don't see anything, which is good. And then I press enter, and then boom. So we added that little bit right there. So hint, try authenticating with GH auth login. Incorrect entry or service not available. Please check personal token. All right, cool. So nice. All right, so process. So now we can just put in our auth code, whatever it may be, and it won't put it out there for anyone else to see. It will go ahead and store it, write it to a file if you wanted to, and then go from there. So that protects me there. I'm probably going to stop the stream here, guys. Sorry there wasn't more coding, but I'm stopping it because I want to make sure that I'm going to code this up right in terms of protecting the auth token so nobody sees it and I don't have to redo these things every 2 seconds. And then seeing where else I want to go with this. Let me see here. I always like to give you guys value because it's like, some people stop it when it's like getting good and it's like, man, what the hell? This is BS. I want more. All right, so let's close this window because we don't want that to confuse me anymore. All right, cool. Where is this? Where did I have this thing? Yo, crazy move. All right, cool. So. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Jermaine. Yeah, and that's a cool thing to do because you do that to protect the input. Now, in some cases, what you'll actually do. The loading emoji. That's how you feel about what I'm doing here, Jermaine. Thanks, bro. I'm not gonna put that on the screen. You're not gonna embarrass me in front of my friends. It's freaking great. But yeah. All right, cool. Since Jermaine is trying me, that motivates me. All right, so what we're gonna do is try authenticating with GH auth login. GH auth login with token, and then random string. Temp auth token random string. So now we wrote that random string to a file in the temp directory, and then auth token. So we have a couple of them. Let's just do all of them. All right, so we can see that I did both of them to the file here. What we will do what we well, I'm gonna tell you what we gonna do. So we're going to erase that file because I don't want it. So I mean that's a simple piece of code there, and that goes into cleanup, right? At the end of this function, or at the end of all of this, I need to have where it actually just RMs, and then that should be this here. With random string itself, we define random string, and then we use it. We can use it all throughout. So, I wonder. One of the things I do wonder is that you said you're gonna stop, bro. Yeah, yeah. Come on, we know we're the same people here. Like when it comes to say we're gonna stop and then we don't actually stop. But this will be the last thing. One thing I do want to see here is in terms of JavaScript, what it'll do is when you define a variable, then it doesn't bleed out of anything else. So what I want to do is when it says random string here, I'm gonna put it up here. So put random string up there, then anywhere in this function it should be able to be used. I'm not sure if that happens in Bash, but since somebody says that I need to stop, I'm just gonna do that real quick and make sure it doesn't happen anymore. Or sorry, make sure it nothing bad will happen in terms of putting that random string out there, or having to figure out like, hey, listen, does the random string survive outside of this if statement or not? And cool, so random string. I want to give a better description of what that is. Random string. Actually, no, I don't need it. Yeah, no, I don't need it. Yeah, I don't need that. That's fine. So I'll just do an RM statement here. So what we can do is vertically split this, and then I'll do C, and then I will do I'll do the watch command ls-alh, and then I will do that on the temp directory in my case, and I'm going to encase that in double quotes because sometimes you have to do that. All right, so now we have two files here. What we should see is that an auth token file should be created, and then it'll be deleted. I think with bash, we can do the sleep command. So if I do sleep 10, yeah, so I can do the sleep command, and then it should return to the prompt after the fact. So what we'll do is sleep. We don't need to do this, but we're just doing this for testing, so we can actually see it happen over here, and it'll delete after. We'll do sleep 5 because sleep 10 was kind of long. All right, cool. So now what we're gonna do, take the string I'm typing, I'm copy and pasting or something, what have you, and I'm putting that string in there, pressing enter. It's gonna give me an output. It's waiting for 5 seconds. It created the file, and boom, deleted it, and now it's done. So that's a good way to show that, hey, listen, when it comes to cleaning things up, that's one way that you would do it. So I have my auth token, my old auth token files here. I can get rid of those. But now I know that, hey, listen, anytime I need to run this, I am not keeping old stuff in there, and maybe that auth token could be compromised some way, shape, or form, and we want to make sure that we don't know nobody else on the system can get to the temp direct, or that can actually access the temp directory, can get to some of these files. So let's go ahead and remove all those files there. So that gets rid of those 2 files there. So we're good to go. All right, guys, I will end the stream there because I do want to do a little bit outside of this, because I really don't want to remake the entire auth token every time, because putting the passwords out there and stuff like that. But I want to get something a little bit more polished, and next time we will be focusing more on this, other than like I just that Electron app stuff. This whole bit of redundancy here that's offered with this is just amazing, and I do definitely want to expand on that and do more, and maybe even kind of do some live coding on an Electron app, which is definitely something I want to do for the actual project that we're priming for with this here. So as always, thank you all for listening. And if anything, take what I say with a grain of salt. I know this is not one of my financial videos or anything like that, but go out, learn more. Say, hey, Mike, that's the wrong. You said that improperly the last time. Like synchronous and procedural and asynchronous, like I was saying before, the synchronous and asynchronous. So as always, thanks guys. Do your research and come back and tell me I'm a fool and teach me. Appreciate you. Peace.